Hello, today I will review the 60TP, the Tier 10 Polish heavy tank. This tank has a big alpha damage gun with 750 alpha damage per shot on a heavy tank. It has 15.30 seconds reload time, resulting in about 2900 DPM. The dispersion is fine with 0.34 and an aiming time of about 2.8 seconds. This tank has pretty a lot of hit points with 2870 with this improvement and the modernization. So 2870 is pretty big. You can even boost it up about to 3000. The speed is 39, with turbocharger it's 44. So if you use turbocharger with 44, this is pretty fast for such a heavy tank. It's a more heavy tank than, for example, a VZ100 Model 5. So the view range is fine, is not really good here with 439 meters. And this tank is not really about concealment. So as for the loadouts, I have two loadouts. One with this improvement, you can get set on fire pretty quickly on this tank. I encountered this especially a lot in Onslaught, so I put this on the 60TP. As for the second, I'm putting the stabilizer on it to be able to shoot faster, and also to be able to shoot faster, I'm putting the bounty rammer on it. As for the second loadout, I'm just switching the hardening with a turbocharger to go 45 kilometers per hour. As modernization, I'm picking this to go even faster. I would recommend to pick this to aim faster. Here you can buff the view range, but you will get more stuns from artillery, so do whatever you want here. Here I am buffing the top speed here with 4 kilometers, and here I am also reducing the dispersion. So here you see I'm mostly building on having less aiming time and having less dispersion during movement. As for the shells are the best here, with 250 penetration and 900 shell velocity on the basic round, so this isn't something extraordinary, this is just a bit worse than average. The gold ammo isn't also the best one, with 370 penetration with heat rounds and 900 shell velocity. As for the crew perks, I would recommend Brothers in Arms, Repairs, Reconcentration and Awareness, and Brothers in Arms Snapshot, also to reduce dispersion, repairs, and, well, firefighting. Like I already said, you can be set on fire here. Here, Brothers in Arms repairs Smooth Ride to also increase the dispersion during movement, and off-dirt driving to increase the speed maintenance. Here, Brothers in Arms repairs Intuition, and that's it for the crew perks. So the armor of the tank is pretty extraordinary. So let's look at this. It has a lower plate that is penetratable, and I have to say it is a pretty small lower plate. So comparing to other tanks like the IS-7, this is a pretty small lower plate. As for the upper plate, this whole thing is good armored. Put even gold ammunition here on. And you see this part is penetratable. These ones aren't as easy to penetrate as it has an angle here, so that's improving the armor. But this side here doesn't have an angle here, so this is a very important spot to shoot on the 60TP. Here you also have this part here, so the spots below the turrets are weak. You see, if I'm turning this tank around, these are those spots here you can be able to penetrate. Here, well, it is only penetratable for high caliber tanks that have 150 millimeter, and if you're shooting AP rounds. Side scraping is pretty good with this tank. You see, everything is being covered here except this spot. So where you should shoot the 60 TP is the lower plate, if it's angled like this. If it's like this, if you are clinching this tank and you're higher than this one, then shoot those parts here. If you are looking at the tank like this, one very important spot to shoot is this one. This is a much easier spot to shoot than this. So if you see this one, shoot here and not here. If you see only this commander hatch, you should shoot here. Another important spot to shoot is when this tank is side scraping, to shoot under the turret. This is a very common spot to shoot the 60 GP. The special thing about this tank is that it has this weak points, but they are pretty small. So especially the more distance you have to this tank, the more difficult it will be to penetrate this tank. If you shoot on a Leopard this tank, it will be almost impossible to penetrate it, because you have to hit this lower plate that is difficult to hit, and also this spot, this is also difficult to hit. So overall, the armor of this tank is pretty good, with having those weak spots of this, and this here. And that's it for the armor. So here I am on this tank on Erlenberg. And well, it's pretty... I have a good advantage that it's again tier 8. And so for now, I don't want to sit in a position and tank for my turret. I just want to be more active and try to shoot some tanks into their side. So that's why I'm going to that direction. I pretty like going to that direction, especially with tank with magazines. So with a T57 heavy, you should go to this side here. So I'm going 40 kilometers per hour. So that's pretty comfortable for such a heavy tank. And for now, I'm staying here. I see those tanks crossing, but it would be difficult for me to be able to shoot them. So here I am not even trying to tank so much. I'm just going out and putting my 724 damage into the tank. So 750 damage is really interesting and fun to play for a heavy tank. And there the IS-3 was peeking, but I misaimed here and shot into a wrong spot. Was aiming for the upper plate, but I shot in some entirely wrong spot. So I see he is peeking with his side, so I'm switching to AP to be able to penetrate his side, and I managed to penetrate him with 781 damage. So AP is better here for penetrating side scraping tanks. And with that shot, I am finishing him off. 2 shots and the IS-3 is dead. I'm trying to aim for those tanks here. There's a Kunze Puncher shooting at me. But it's difficult to aim him out, so not shooting him. And here I'm hitting this Kranwagen into his side. Into the side of his turret. And another 711 damage is delivered. Well, I'm missing this I7 here. I was poking back and forth here, I don't know why. And the Udas is shooting into my back. I'm turning around. And, well, dealing 597 damage to the Kunzepanzer. That's not the, exactly the alpha damage you want to get. This was kind of a bit of unfortunate here. Here the I7 is crossing and I'm shooting into his back with 874 damage. So now it's about 900, where previously it was 600. And the Kunzepanzer is making a mistake here, he's not even looking at me. I'm shooting him and ramming him to death. So minus 1000 HP here. So you see this gun is really good at close distances. Killing this A face here. Well, 133 damage, it's not really those shots for 750 damage. And what I can do now, the battle is almost won, is to push the A line. This is exactly what I'm doing here. This X is spotted. I should have aimed a bit more here. But at least I'm getting some assist. I'm getting those shots right after my allies hit them, so that's kind of unfortunate with the projectile and the face. But well, never mind, at least I get those kills. So I'm switching to HE now, I didn't even mention the HE here. Those are 950 alpha damage HP with 90 penetration, so that's not those E3 HE shells with 1100 penetration, but at least I got 1000 damage here. Want to ram him. And I'm ramming this tank to death, so I already rammed 2 tanks here to death. So there's only artillery left. And he's getting killed. So the gun, like you saw, has great capabilities on this tank. So that's 6722 damage and 5 kills and 1000 assist here. Also tanked 950 damage and I got 1131 experience here. So overall, this tank is really worth grinding, especially on low tiers, not low tiers, if you are a new player. Also to do the campaign missions, it is worth for doing those Object 260 missions, Heavy Tanks 15, where you have to tank, receive damage, and deal damage. This is what the tank can really do. He can take damage with a lot of his hit points, he can deal damage with his big gun, and he can also tank damage with his armor. So this is a very versatile tank. It is also not as slow as you would expect. So I really recommend to research this tank. That's it for now. Like and subscribe and bye.